Alex asked me to do a poem, and I was like, I just did a set of Pride, which in and of itself is a bit surprising. Me being me, and being therefore entirely alien to the concept of love. I did it, and then Alex was like, can you do this one poem that you didn't do at Pride? And I was like, why didn't you just ask me to do it at Pride? And Alex was like, well, I did, and you didn't. You know that moment when you realise you've lost an argument? So, here's that poem, I guess. I remember her like it was yesterday. She asked, is that seat taken there in this sing-song way? And it had been so long since I'd heard a voice from just south of the Liffey that I put aside my English reservation. Remembered that in friendlier places than these, random people, sometimes they just have conversations. And she reminded me of a home I one time almost had, so I was glad of this stranger beside me, and we talked. Not of Shamrock, Shillelaghs and Baileys, but of the widening stair on Grafton Street and the way that Bray's been lately. Turns out Bray is still a shithole. Grafton Street is still mad crowded, and the winding stair is still a secret softly kept on top of a bookshop. I asked her what she's over here for, and her smile fell flat-footed false. With a studied nonchalance, she said, I'm just here getting something taken care of. And it was the way she wrapped her arms around her stomach as she said it. I figured it out in those awful moments right after I should have. When I looked up, her eyes were shimmering like she had to be too strong for 13 broken heartbeats too long. And then a tear slipped out the corner of her eye and glided down the side of her face like the lace of a parcel coming untied. And then there was another one, and then the first shattering sob, and all I could do was hold her. Pretend to be fortress walls between her shaking form and every other person on this carriage who just one time couldn't mind their own business. Earthquake girl. Fault lines running through her future, caught in the aftershock of discovering that we had all lied to her, that sometimes every answer is wrong. She smashed like glass in slow motion, like waves crashing on shipwrecks and reefs. She just wanted her mum, but mum was 2 flights and an Irish sea from safety. So here she was, alone, except in the way that was breaking her, me, doing the worst impression of home. And I wish that I could tell you that she was okay, but it has been 3 years, 5 months and 23 days, and all that I have left of her are 2 mascara stains on a t-shirt that will never come clean, like the bruises left from when my conscience tried to break out my ribcage. That and the things that slide through my heart in the darkest parts of the night and escape through my eyes when there is nothing left to hold them back. I will never know her name, but I remember her as Saoirse, because in Irish that means freedom, and I pray to God she found some. And there are so many people trying so hard to be so clever, lining up to tell her if she was right or wrong morally. But the only thing I could bring myself to say in that moment is, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. So we're going up from there. We got this is a story really. I've been reading some Patrick Rothfuss, who you won't know if you're not a nerd. But it turns out he actually manages to write a poem that's novel length by picking exactly the right words and in exactly the right order. It's incredible. I actually thought that he said that he was doing that in the book, but it turns out he just wrote it so cleverly. I thought he had. It's like, God. He's also really good at playing D&D. This is a proper, you know when some people get up and they're like, yes, I've been reading some Aristotle. No, that's not me. I've been reading some nerd shit. Have you guys all seen Pacific Rim?
Woo!
Has anyone not seen Pacific Rim? Woo! It's like, guys, see Pacific Rim. It's not really nothing relevant to the poem. You just see the foot, it's sick. It's good. You just see that it's like giant robots fighting giant monsters. This is good. Oh, I probably shouldn't be glorifying violence, but that guy just swung a crate at him. Ha ha. So this is a poem about the first time I ever fell in love, and I'm pretty sure it's funny if you're not me. So remain in your own bodies for this one, and you'll be alright. I got my first taste of love when I was 17. Her name was Rowena. I have not looked it up, but I'm pretty sure it means goddess in something. She had these soft brown eyes that sparkled into starry nights every time she smiled, and when she laughed, she could make a Tuesday feel like a Friday, because on Tuesday she sat next to me in history and we talked about everything except the Weimar Republic and Nazi Germany. I'm pretty sure that she is the reason that I got a B and missed out on my spot at Durham University, but she taught me more by accident than the school ever did intentionally, so I can't say I hold it against her. She was beautiful, like an autumn day reflected in the eyes of someone who's looking at it in just the right way. Now obviously I could not just tell her how I felt. I was 17 and scared of everything. But nothing more than rejection. Rejection was a kaiju that would eat up my sad scraps of self-esteem for breakfast and butt back up the worst possible version of the person I believe myself to be. Better torture than that. So I locked it away, like a troll rattling the bars of my ribcage, along with Charles Bukowski's Bluebird and the sinking realization that I would never amount to anything more than a strictly average man. Like any coward, I convinced myself I was waiting for just the right moment, and then prayed it wouldn't come. Unfortunately, I grew up in England, a culture so formal that just the right moment is printed on a calendar. Look it up, it's February the 14th. Valentine's Day. Because you can't say, hey, I have always loved you, on February the 15th. That's not romantic. So on February 13th, I went to the florists in town and picked up 12 long-stem red roses from a husband and wife who made life seem like a work of art in the way that they arranged it in a vase. They asked if I wanted a card and asked them to write it for me because she knew my handwriting from copying off me in history. She got an A! And went to Durham! It read, Ro, I have loved you for too long for you not to know. Happy Valentine's Day. Kiss. You don't sign a Valentine's Day card. That's not romantic. Then the next day, at 5 a.m, I drove out to our house. I left the vase and the card outside the front door in the first rays of dawn's dawning. Then I drove home, failed to sleep for an hour, got up, had a shower, put on my nicest shirt and the aftershave I hadn't opened since Christmas, realised I was late, ran to sixth form and did all of the good work. When I got there, my heart was beatbox banging around my chest like a troll had realised that somebody had left something very important unlocked. I walked into the common room and there she was. Now most days, she was beautiful by accident, but that day she had dressed to fall in love. And she was kissing the boy who claimed that it was him who left her roses. I mean, it's funny now. Fair play to that lad. Cast iron spine in a way I never had. Lad who knew how to take a risk and get away with it. Lad who knew how to act at just the right moment. And as far as I know, she still believes it was him who left her flowers. And I will never tell her different. Because that was her first taste of love. And it was perfect. I would never ruin that with anything as ugly, self-serving, was the truth